Hello. As promised, here's how I do my B12. I have myself a divided lunchbox, which is really useful to keep all my bits and pieces in. I have wipes and things in one pocket, syringes in another, little space at the back for rubbish for when I'm away, and in the bottom, the B12. There's a trick to dealing with these little ampules. As you can probably see there, the top is full of liquid. To get rid of that, rub it against a hard surface. It works far better than tapping it. Can you see? It's disappeared. Magic. So good that. I can't remember who showed me that trick, but it was a good few years ago. I divide each of these ampules up into 2 syringes. These are insulin syringes, marked up into 100 units. Technically it holds 1 ml, but actually if you try and get a whole ampule into it, it's too much. So I divide it into 2 syringes and I use half a dose a day. The tops of these syringes, the little caps, are very useful to getting the lid off the ampules without hurting your fingers. Find a little dot, you find it there, put the hat over the top of it and snap away from the dot, like that, and you'll often find that the cap stays in the top of the syringe safely, and you can drop it straight into your sharps box. This is the trick that most people struggle with. With your syringe, push the plunger in to break the seal to start with, so it's all the way down, and then pop it into the neck of the ampule, not straight in because it's a bit difficult to aim that way. If you go at an angle, try not to get the top of the needle touching the glass, and then tip up the ampule. It won't tip out. And start to draw back. Can you see how I'm doing it with this? Just got my finger holding against the syringe, keeping the ampule tipped up, and I'm drawing it up to about the 60 on the needle there. Pop the ampule down, hold your syringe up like that, give it a bit of a tippy tap, and you'll notice there's a bit of air at the top there. Draw it back to make the bubble bigger and then push it up like that. I've usually got a little box here with a bit of paper towel in, so tap that to get the little drips off the top of it. Now to save one, resheath the needle, again not by straight on because you usually end up sticking it in your fingers, but go at it at an angle. Try not to get the tip touching the plastic, and then pop it on like that. Save that one for tomorrow. Same again. Pop it into the ampule, tip your ampule up and pull it back. See, it doesn't drip out. Like that last little drip. That's now ready to go straight into your sharps box. Give it a tippy tap again. Oh yeah. Make the bubble bigger and then push it up to the top. Tap it over your paper. This one, if you're using it straight away, you don't need to put the lid on. I use these. I know people who have diabetes who use insulin don't anymore, but when I trained we did, and I find it quite useful if I do get a bit of a dribble. I inject into my belly fat because it's by far the easiest, subcutaneous, and I have 4 areas which I sort of assign to days. Below the belly button on the right, Monday, Tuesday, above the belly button, Wednesday, Thursday, and then this little bit at the side Friday, Saturday and Sunday off. Most times I now just have 4 a week, unless I've picked up a bug or I've really overdone it, in which case I go back to the loading dose rate, which is the 3 dose a week equivalent, or 6 injections, because I divide each up into half. So, excuse the flab. Find a bit, give it away. Let it dry off a bit. It's the drying off of the spirit that actually cleans the area. And I always think about doing it like a dart. So ready, steady, in. That's the needle in. And that usually doesn't hurt too much. Draw it back very slightly to make sure you're not into a blood vessel. And then still supporting your inchy bit, but not pinching too much. Then let it go in. Sometimes you can get away with it not particularly hurting. That was a good one. Sometimes it really hurts. I don't know why some hurt, some don't, but it does sting sometimes. So I've left that in a few seconds after I've finished injecting. Now don't pinch at this point. Withdraw it. Sometimes you get a bit of a dribble of blood, sometimes you get a little bit of a dribble of B12, sometimes both. In which case just give it a bit of a wipe. If it is bleeding, then press on it. Second or two, it'll soon stop. That's it. Job done. All your needles away in your sharps box, all your ampules away in the sharps box, and everything packed away, ready for next time. I tend to save my spare one in a little pencil box like this. It doesn't have to be refrigerated, but I keep it in my fridge for safety. It does need to be kept dark, so a cool cupboard is perfectly acceptable, but I keep it in one of the drawers in the fridge. And that's it. That's as easy as it is, which is quite ridiculous really. I used to be so frightened about injections. As a registered nurse, I've given hundreds over the years, thousands. Pointing them at me? No way. This is just so simple.